Welcome, New York City and beyond. I am Commissioner Muldrow with the New York City Police Department. I am so excited that you tuned in with us today to be part of this new initiative that we're rolling out, this project, if you will. So we're taking a substantial step to making sure we continue to do right by this community. And we're doing that by reaching out to those that have lost loved ones, reaching out to the community as a whole that's been impacted by homicides, not just recently, but over the years in this community. We understand that even now, we're doing a really good job with stopping the violence that's been occurring in this community today. But we have to, and we're setting ourselves up to do well tomorrow. But we have to be responsible in how we work and take a look at yesterday and the individuals that we've lost here in this community to homicides. So we come to you to introduce you to a new project that we're working on. We're calling it the Remember Me Project because we want to take the time to reach out to the community and the families that have been impacted and let them have an opportunity to have a voice, to continue to reach out to the individuals across this great city and county that may have seen something or may have information in relation to old cases, that may have a voice that they need to get out, that they feel compelled to get out, to speak up about their loved one, to make sure that they're seen as something more than just a mugshot or a headline. We want to invite this community. We want to invite the people that have suffered, lost, the family that's continuing to be in pain until they get that closure that they're looking for. We want to invite them to have a platform here with us, to be able to speak on behalf of their family member, to let them know that they are so much more than what people may think they are, that they are so much what they meant to that family and what they brought in life. And we want to give them the opportunity to come here with us and sit down with us and share a little bit more about the person that they've loved and lost, in hopes that it resonates with the community that's watching and gets them to step up and do the right thing and share what they know, to speak up on behalf of these individuals that we've lost in the community. And as part of that, we also want to, in that same vein, in that same platform, we also want to take an opportunity to be able to have the individuals that are working the cases, that are passionately attempting to bring closure to that family. We want to give them an opportunity to share what they know, some of the facts surrounding the case, to help highlight it, to help spotlight the individuals, the cases that have occurred over the years. We want to see if we can warm up some of those cold cases and get active on them to be able to support these families and bring closure on behalf of the victims. So we're creating this platform to be able to look to do all that. And we hope that by hearing the voice of the family members and the voice of people that knew these victims, individuals like Tiff Lowe, who has a heart for the community, who knows most of these young people through her work, both in and out of school and in life. We want to continue to be a platform for them and be a platform for her in the GVI program with respect to speaking out on behalf of the people that have lost. We also, again, like I said, want to use this platform to be able to just highlight it and bring people together and start to really speak to the pain and the loss and the trauma and heal together. Departments heal together with our community to let them know that we care, to let them know that they've never been and never will be forgotten, and we will always be focused on remembering them. So I'm introducing you today to the Remember Me project. I'm proud of it. We're excited about what it's going to be able to do and where we're going to be able to go with it. And to help bring this program, this project to fruition, I want to introduce you to two of the key players that'll be with us as we do these monthly shows to highlight the various cases that we haven't been able to close yet. I want to introduce you to the individuals' voices that you will hear, the faces that you'll get to know if you don't know them. And we're going to have a conversation today to just kind of highlight where we're going to be going next as we kick this off. So with us today is, as I briefly made mention of, we have the GVI program director, Tiff Lowe. You know her and you love her. And by her side, we have Detective Commander Andy Baez, a longtime homicide investigator with the York City Police Department. So Baez, you want to start us off?
I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity, Commissioner. I think first and foremost, my purpose for this is to let the families know that there is care. However slight they feel, however distance they feel from us, that we do care, and the people that I work alongside do have purpose and do try and have tried to bring some sort of closure or justice with these cases. They're difficult. They're very hard to work when there is information that we know is out there and we're not necessarily receiving it directly. So when I approached, we had the conversation, Commissioner, and I've done this so long now that it's great when we do have successes, but you always feel, how successful are we if we still have 1, 2, or however many cold cases? Is one win enough to cover the ones that we haven't been able to succeed on? So, like I said, I've been doing this, for over 24 years. In the last 15 have been in the Detective Bureau. And I've seen way too many. If I were to put a number, I would put at 150
Wow.
deaths in 15 years, and that's staying on the lower end. And
that makes sense, because even in recent days, the last 2 years, we've really moved the needle and we're sitting on single-digit homicides. But that's coming off of the year we had 22, knowing that as an average, our department generally has about 12.
But I also, and I'll say today, like I've said it many of other platforms, is because of the community. I'm not going to say we did everything and it was just because of us. Communities help, and also with our partners with GVI and the department as a whole, we have been able to be successful. But ultimately, it comes down to the participation of the community. That's why I wanted this, because I know there's community members that are out there that are suffering because of their loss, but also to know that there's people that have information that we need to reach and be able to bring forward so that we can get them the success or the justice that they need.
Absolutely.
To be able to, during the holidays that we're currently coming into, that they don't have to be as difficult, knowing that their loved one's case has been solved.
Why am I here? For 8 years, I spent working with children, young adults, at the school district. And 1,500 kids would walk in that building. And I would look around and I would be afraid, because I knew the way the trend was going, that at least minimum 2 of my babies weren't going to make it to the end of the school year. due to the violence. And I also knew that out of the two, one of them, the case wasn't going to be solved. So that hurt, that pain was personal. That was the original why. It was real personal for me. Then when you go to the families that are dealing with this 10 times more than what I am, they're dealing with their children and their siblings every single day. And not only are they dealing with the fact that they're gone, they're dealing with the fact that some people just didn't want to step up and give the detectives the information they need to solve, to bring that justice. So now that made it even worse, where I got to look families in their face and just wish that I could do more. So this is my doing more.
I think we're absolutely on to something special here with what we're looking to do. Baez, how do you see a platform like this, a monthly program like this, being of value to the community?
Well, first and foremost, to highlight the fact that we do care and we want the family to be part of this. This isn't an initiative just for police and GVI and partnerships. We need the families to come forward to show the community who their loved one was. There's good in every single one of us. And to them, they're all good. And that's what we need to display, that we are good people. They are great people, and they had purpose. There was purpose for them to be here. Like everyone's, that we still walk this earth, there's purpose. And the family, we need them to show and give them the opportunity to show their loved one the best possible way. And also to give them, an understanding that we do care. This isn't us. When the case comes to us and there's zero communication, does not mean we don't care. Does not mean we just put you away in a drawer and we moved on to the next. We just need them to know we are walking with you. And we do. We look at it and we know. We acknowledge the fact that we have these cases and that these individual detectives that are working them do have the dedication that are putting in constantly with it. Is it every minute, every day? Of course not. But do they think about it regularly? Of course they do.
So by show, is it fair to say, where are we looking to go with this by show? Are we going to be able to tell the community and tell the family members that they can bring photos and clips of their loved ones at their best and highlights of their life? I mean,
that's exactly what I want. I'm not here to point fingers or to point blame. We're here to highlight that family member. Give the opportunity for that family to address who he or she was and what purpose they had in their life. All of our loved ones have purpose in our life. And now that the person's no longer here, have them be their voice, what they would want.
Tiff, could you see that being could you see that being powerful, or how do you see that affecting the family members being able to have a platform like this?
I can see it affecting them in a positive way, but I also can understand that it's going to hurt. A lot of these families, sometimes, when something's painful, you don't want to talk about it, so we do have to be mindful of that. However, I think that with the army of support that these families will have, it will help to reduce that pain just a little bit, because they're not standing alone. They're not feeling alone. So to be able to represent their loved ones the way that they know them, the way that they want the community to know them, I think it's going to be powerful. I think it's going to be a game changer. And I think that, we will be able to see more justice for these families.
Do you see that? I mean, that's a great answer. I mean, I think you're right. And I think it's important for people that don't understand your role, or viewers that are watching. I think it's important that they realize what you do. I think it's important that they understand that you are literally talking to these families well beyond the crime scene. You were talking to that mother. I hear you say it at times. You are holding people up, brothers and sisters and aunts and grandmoms, trying to help them through these ordeals and these crisis situations long after we're gone and on to the next case. So what are some of the questions that you normally get and hear from the families, and how do you feel that a platform like this will help address it?
The number one question I always get is, the first question is why? That was my baby. Why? And regardless of what certain media platforms paint the victim out to be, those individuals aren't there with me when I'm looking that mother, that father, that sister, that brother in the face when they're saying, why, that was my baby. Because again, the individual that someone cowardly took, regardless of what the media portrays, they were somebody's baby. So that first question is always why. And I don't have the answer. At that moment, I just don't. The second question, once we get over that hurdle, is, Tiff, where are the detectives at with this? And I always stress to the community, I am not a detective. I didn't sign up to crack cases. I signed up to prevent them. So because of that, it's like I have to be very transparent with my communities to say, listen, I will commit myself to at least asking the detectives, tell me something. Even if it's nothing today, I'll go back tomorrow. And if it's nothing tomorrow, I will tell you this. But it's like they just want that update. They wanna feel like they need to know that we care. They need to know that their loved one wasn't just left on that sidewalk and that was it. They need to know that their loved one wasn't or isn't portrayed as how media likes to portray
a drug dealer or a monster or some kind of a villain, or absolutely, right. There's so much more.
It's so much more. And then if we want to go down that, and I'm not going to go too far down, but it's like,
oh, you can go. We're amongst friends.
In our underserved community, when our children die, then they want to overly exploit the bad behavior that they do. But when you go to a overly served community and the same crime happens, then you want to underserve the behavior that they were doing. It doesn't make sense to me. So this right here is going to change that whole theory of what has been going on for years, for decades. We're going to overly serve this underserved population of victims to let people know that they were football players, that they were great fathers, that they were, I had a young man, and I'll say his name, Eugene Hilliam, gave me the best hugs in the world. Do you understand me? So at the end of the day, we're going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about just, oh, well, he did X. Well, you did too. But you're not putting that out there.
Force you to see him like we see him.
You better know it.
Because you're right. Like when you're in a school and you're working there in a building and you see Eugene every single day and you're part of his life for his wins and his losses, it's different. When I think about Tamir, I know the little kid I started cutting his hair. I don't know what he may or may not have done in life. What I knew was a great man that every time he saw me, he went out of his way to let me know he loved me. And I watched him as he started raising a family, and I watched him and the passion that he had for his mom and his dad and his brothers and his sisters. You're right. And I'm excited that I believe this show is going to give that voice to have the community see some of these people that we've lost, some of these individuals, some of these lives, the same way we get to see them, the same way, more importantly, that their families get to see them. Bias, first of all, I commend you for being willing to step up and throw this out there, throw the idea out there, because you are opening the door to a level of accountability that I commend you, and I feel like I'm safe to say this, I don't think any departments, at least not near us, have been willing to do. How do you feel about that, like the level of accountability and transparency?
Because I have held a lot of this weight on my shoulders because of the position I currently hold. And I too, I am from this community. born, raised, and ran these streets and know these streets as well, I know that sometimes I'm looked at like, you're from here, you have reason, and you know
You're that guy.
you know people too.
You owe
who
us.
I might not know the kids, but I know their parents.
Yeah.
So it did feel like a big weight on my shoulders when I have to talk to the mom and I have to say, I'm sorry, I don't have much to go on. And I expect, and just, I know that that's not what she wants to hear, but I don't have much more. So I'm thinking, where else do I go? So when I thought talking with you is, I want all my detectives that I work with to have accountability, that this is on them as well. You know, they took the case, or we were given the case. Now it's your responsibility to address this community and let them know you do care. You do have purpose, whether you're from here or not, and you're trying to get justice for these family members. So I still feel the weight, but I want to share a little bit of it to let them know that they're going to see them. They're going to be sitting right in this chair telling the community about the case, and it's their responsibility. They're the ones that are going to try to utilize this community the best way possible to get the justice that we need. That's what this is all about. Nothing more, nothing less. I need them to feel and know as we move forward, they are cared for. I'm not here to judge. That's another life, that's someone else higher power than me to do the judgment. That's not what we're here for. I don't get paid to judge. I get paid to seek justice.
As a 20 some odd year cop and homicide investigator, do you feel like, from a practical perspective, doing this, having a platform like this, given the opportunity for people to have a voice for their loved one, do you feel like, from a practical perspective, this may help solicit individuals to help?
100%. I expect that. That was the other reason for this, because I know for a fact there's community members, local and wide, that have information on all our cases, every single one of them. No real case is cold. There's information there. We just gotta find it.
What they tell us at the academy is it's never really the case that nothing goes unseen. It's whether or not you can get people to be willing to take part in it.
And like I said, we have all the technology, and don't think for 1 second we haven't reached, and we don't reach those avenues. But ultimately, it falls back to what people have seen, what people have heard, and what people have spoken.
Talk about. Mm-hmm.
And what they talk about. That's information that is very valuable to us, just like a phone record or a search warrant or whatever else that we utilize. Information, first-hand information about a crime is what is valuable to us pursuing justice for the victims.
How do we do, because you represent the community. You literally represent the community. You have the voice, you have the ear of the community. Your finger is always on the pulse. I know that. How do we do this well? How do we do a show like this well?
How do we do this well? One or two ways, or both. I think one is, as we are bringing the detectives on that are handling the cases, to reach out to the families, that immediate family, and allow them to be a part of it. If they feel that they don't want to, for whatever reason, respect that and allow them to send questions.
I like that.
And I'll ask those questions right here for the family. I will be the voice for you. So if you don't have the strength to come in here and be your own voice, utilize me. As you said, I am the community, and that's my life mission. So I think one or two, those things right there will be very important, because the families do have questions, and to be able to direct your question to the source, I think that it will be impactful.
And if I may,
absolutely.
and just on the same topic, And I'm glad you segue to that because I want to make sure it's known that whether the family member sits here or not does not make this stop. We will utilize, and I'm glad she brought up, without even talking to Ms. Tiv, that's what we would expect. If the family members don't feel comfortable, do not want to go in front of the camera, we still will present your case. We still will speak on behalf of your child. We will present the picture that you're willing to give us. We'll present the best possible way of who your loved one was. And let Ms. Tiv, if that's who we choose to be,
Help tell that story.
The best way, if she knows a very intimately, meaning, through school or however, as that person was growing up, she can be the voice for your loved one. So we will not, just because if we ask you, you say no, we're still going to look at your case to bring it forward to the community. We just have different means in which to do it. So please understand that.
I want people to understand that our goal is to make sure that this is tastefully done, respectfully done, that this show is highly produced and done in a way that is thought-provoking, heart-wrenching at times, because we're dealing with people's hearts, we're dealing with people's loved ones, but also in a very responsible manner so that it doesn't re-traumatize already traumatized individuals. Why do you feel like nobody's done it in the past? Why do you feel like departments have been agencies have been hesitant to step into something like this?
I'll let you answer that question because I have an answer that's probably not going to be popular.
That's okay.
And mine isn't either, but this is my community and I'm going to say how I feel. I believe that people before us just didn't care, period. Yeah, that's my answer.
And I will defend very minimal. I know the people I worked with in the past did, and to a certain degree, because like everything else, there's levels. At what level the care was shown is where I will leave it. But we've always displayed a desire and a need to want justice. It's unfortunately that we can't change the past. We can only now do what the best we can, what we have right now. And like Ms. Tiff said, people who care. People who are showing that they care.
My dad used to always tell me I have a bad habit of creating work for other people. And at times that can be what puts me at odds or makes me seem like the outlier or the black sheep of the family when it comes to professional rooms that I'm in and tables that we're in, and you're seeing it now. I know you've experienced it over the years. When I look at the landscape, I look at the past of what we've done, what we haven't done. I look at other agencies, what they do and what they haven't do. I would also contend that it may be that work that my dad was talking about. It may be that extra step, that extra effort to commit an hour here to run around and find that family and convince them why being a part of a project like this is important, to going on location and getting some backstory of who the individual was before they lost their life. It's not easy. Those aren't going to be easy conversations to have. Those aren't going to be, they're going to make for long days and long nights. I personally think that it could be the extra work that it's going to take. But sitting here with two community people, I think it's important to understand why an idea like this was born with three people like this from this community that have ties to this community, that care about this community. It's because of that relationship. I love this for them, for this community, because this is saying that you're worth it. This is saying that you're worth the extra, you're worth the time, you're worth going above and beyond to get that justice.
Like I said, ultimately, we work for this community. It's as simple as that. We work for this community. We were given a job where raise my hand to, swear, uphold and protect and serve. But I chose that. But ultimately, I know I was doing that on behalf of this community. I work for them. I get a paycheck because of them.
100%.
So, if you put me there and you're paying me to be there, shouldn't I be producing? And that's what this is. It's just to make sure, to let them know we're trying to produce. I'm trying to make this right. However, whatever it takes, we're going to try to make this right.
I think it's important too when we're building something like this, right? And going back to what I said, like again, coming from community, does it feel like people didn't care? Absolutely. Coming into this work and meeting people like you, I have a different look on it now. But I will say this. When you're building something like this, a wise man said to me, I want to work myself out of a job. You said that to me. So I think that when you create that world of people, that means that those extra hours that you're going out here to find the evidence or the cameras or to knock on the doors, is because not only am I trying to bring justice, but I'm literally trying to work myself out of a job because I want to get to a place where I don't have to knock on your door because people aren't dying on these sidewalks. I've done my job. But then if you have people that are just, well, let me just get to my pension, well then just let it sit and let me just ride this thing out. So I think that changing that whole narrative, changing the structure, changing everything, and finding people that believe in that method of, let me work myself out of this job. Because when you do that, I think, for me personally, I look at working myself out of a job more than I look at a pension. I don't look at what's my pension. No, work myself out of this job. And I think that that's something that we're all learning to do.
Because it's funny because when I hear you say that, I hear a person that's dedicated to actually win. And that's what it boils down to. Are you playing the game because playing the game consistently keeps your check coming? Or are you actually trying to win? And it's funny because I think that's what we're seeing right now. We're able to sit here and have this conversation with the community. We're able to sit here and have this conversation amongst each other because we don't have the onslaught of shots fired, calls, and homicides happening. You're already doing the work that's turning things around in this community, and it will be so easy to rest there, to rest on our laurels and sit in that and enjoy the peace. But to have a willingness to say, okay, we've stopped the hemorrhaging, we've stopped the bleeding. Now we're going to go back and make it right for those times where things were wrong. Final thoughts on the Remember Me project and what you want to see, what are your final thoughts that you would want to tell the community about why they should tune in and watch this show?
Well, first, thank you for even having me. But my final thoughts to my community is this Remember Me is a platform to show you that your loved ones have not been forgotten. They will never be forgotten. Your loved ones will never be a final thought with me. It will always be one of my first thoughts. And although I am not able to meet with you every day, to call you every day, you're able to do that with me. And I want to be in a position where I'm able to pick up that phone call and give you an answer, be the liaison for you, be the liaison for you, be the liaison for you. So I just want my community to understand that Remember Me is not something, like you said, we're not trying to exploit or anything of that nature. It's literally to remember your babies the way that we know your babies, opposed to how others have portrayed your baby.
Wow. My guy, Andy Baez, my partner, final thoughts on the Remember Me project.
I just want to start that you're more than a statistic. You will no longer be a number. You will number just a name that just was written about in a news article and forgotten about. We want to give face, your face, the face of the person who's no longer here through the family members to express who exactly they were, how important they were and are still in their memory to this family. I'm not here to look for blame. I'm not here to finger point. I'm here to bring that to this community. And yes, you will hear about the case. That will be part of this sit-down discussion, but on top of it all is to show who that person was that's no longer walking this earth, and yet their family members who are grieving need your help. So that's what I want from this, is the family to have a voice, have a face to the person who they were, no longer a number or a statistic, and why they were here, why they were brought and what they do. Father, athlete, whatever that person, and I say, mother, sister, brother, whatever they are, how important they are to them. That's what this is about. Given that opportunity.
In closing, I just want to say thank you to you both for your willingness to take this on and be part of this. I know this is going to mean so much to so many from now for years to come as we take this journey of justice, being able to bring closure to those families. And I want to say to the community, to anybody that's tuning in and watching, thank you. Out to the families that are going to participate and be part of this, we want you to know that the goal of this, my goal for this, is to make sure that somebody is doing everything that they could possibly do to bring closure and seek justice on behalf of your loved one. And I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I would want somebody doing for me. So thank you. Please remember to tune in with us each month. Wherever you view your media at, we'll be there. And I'm proud of what we've been able to pull together on behalf of this community that's been there so much for all of us that are sitting here today. So look for the Remember Me project. Thank you again, and we'll see you then.